Thank you, everybody. How many of you came to Alaska, those of you who weren't born here like Georgiana, how many of you came for 1 year? Raise your hand. But aren't you glad you stayed? I had some exciting things happen in my life, and what I'm grateful for are people who gave me nurturing and believed in me. Do you have people who believed in you? Made a difference in your life. And as I grew older, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I started teaching 63 years ago. I'll be 81 next month, and it's very exciting to be 81. And don't you hope that you can be in your 90s and be like this lovely lady? Let's give her a hand. I almost went to Venezuela. Well, I grew up on a farm. And when I grew up on the farm in South Dakota, girls didn't go to college. I taught in a little country school, carried water, whole fun thing. Love those kids, still love them. Some of them were only 6 years younger than I. And I've been in touch with them. At any rate, there were people who didn't think girls should go to school. You're supposed to just get married to the next handsome man down the next 600 acres of land. Now, I read enough to know that there was more to life. Nothing wrong with my relatives in South Dakota. I love them. There was more that I was seeking than to just stay on the farm, and even though this was a handsome man, I decided to go on to college. But it was a good thing to do because I met some interesting people, hated the University of South Dakota. It was a party school, and I'd never had a drink in my life, and I'd always had a good time. So I went to California with my piano teacher, had moved there. And some of my friends in South Dakota at the university had gone on to Venezuela to teach in the oil fields, the American fields there. And so I thought, that sounds sort of fun. But I'd also, the people we meet have such an influence on us. And take advantage of the opportunity of everybody you meet that could influence you. Anyway, I met a lady from Cordova when I was working at the University with summer school at the University in South Dakota, and I was dishing out cafeteria food, worked my way through college, and I was always talking to people. I'm sure you can see that I was a very quiet person. And I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "Oh, I'm from Cordova, Alaska." Well, that sounded exciting. So when I finished college in 1953, after having taught 3 years, I really wanted to go to Germany to teach in the arms school, the army schools, and I wasn't old enough. And you had to have 3 years of experience, which I did, and I had a very good teaching experience, wonderful years. But I had to be 25, and I wasn't 25 yet, so I thought, oh, shall I go to Venezuela or shall I go to Alaska? And I didn't want to go to South Dakota again. I didn't want to stay in California. And I chose Alaska, had offers from Cordova and Fairbanks and Juneau and Anchorage, and I chose Fairbanks because at that time, Fairbanks was the only city that had the university. Some of you maybe don't remember that. This was in 1953. I was ancient, Georgia. And so that was lucky for me because I met this nice Dick Scott. And he's still a nice kid. Will you raise your hand, Dick Scott? Where are you? There he is, way back there. And we just had our 56th wedding anniversary, and we still live on the same property for those last 56 years. Now that should be boring, but it isn't at all, because our life has been filled with wonderful things. In my bio, they did leave out somebody very important. When I got the idea for doing this festival in 1980, well, I actually got the idea in about 1979, Mary Hale, how many of you knew Mary Hale? Wonderful, wonderful lady. She inspired me. She was a firecracker, wasn't she? I knew her through the State Arts Council, and she had started the Alaska Festival of Music. And oh man alive, that'd be so wonderful to do. But we had little children, and there wasn't any way I could come down to Anchorage. And so in 1956, I thought, someday I'm going to start a festival in Fairbanks, so Fairbanks people can go. Well, at any rate, this dear Mary Hale, again, somebody inspiring you. She said, well, Joe, just keep it in mind and think about doing it and do it someday. So that's what happened. But there was a special friend I had, Eddie Madden from Boston I had met, and his daughter is here tonight with us. Kathleen Madden, would you stand, please? Over there. It's her dad that worked with me. And I'm sure a lot of you know her. She's a financial planner, so if you need some help, go see her. And then she's a very good friend of our daughter's, Julie. Julie, please raise your hand. Where are you? Julie is also a financial planner. And she's planning to retire one of these days, so don't come and call her because she's busy. But our two other children, our daughter Shirley is in Manhattan. She couldn't be here tonight, and our son Brian is in Coronado. And we have one grandson, Aiden. We lost our grandson 3 years ago. He was autistic and had retardation problems, and he had brain seizure. And you know, he's fine now, and he's up there just having a good time, I'm sure. But I am so grateful to people that have inspired me and that have made me go on. It's so exciting to be healthy yet. And though I retired last year, I'm helping if they need me. But I'm having fun filling my 60-plus hours a week with something else now. And you know what I did? I haven't touched my beautiful piano for about 35 years. I have a nice grand. And I pulled out all my Chopin and Debussy. I'm taking piano lessons again.